Like many of you, I've suffered losses. I've failed in many of my dreams. I've cut ties with many wonderful people who came into my life. Often it's my fault. I've taken for granted many great opportunities given to me. But of course, the most painful kind of loss is losing people, whether it's relationships that didn't work, romantic or platonic. But for me, nothing compares to losing my father. Of course, I lost him during the pandemic, but I'm not going to dwell on the pain. That's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to discuss how I got over the grief through two things, gratitude and humility, and how it led me to one wonderful thing. But and how much of that is actually influenced by my culture, Asian culture. But before I do that, just want to make a disclaimer. I am not an expert. This is not to be taken as a professional advice. I don't have any kind of credential or expertise to give any kind of advice. This is just me sharing my story, and if it inspires at least one person, or if it springs you into action or whatever, then my job is done. I just wanted to share. Okay. Months leading to him passing away, I kind of already knew it was going to happen because I saw the signs. He was getting weaker. And so to a certain extent, you could say that I was starting to prepare myself. But the morning of the day that he passed away, I heard a very clear voice in my head. And you can take it any way that you want. You can say it's my imagination since I was already preparing for it, or it can be some kind of an energy, or God. But you can take it any way that you want. But I heard a very clear voice. And the voice said, I am going to take him back now. And that's a very important sentence. The day that happened, I had to coordinate from here in the US. They are in the Philippines. I couldn't go home because it was during the pandemic. So everyone, if somebody passes away, the rule was that it has to be on the same day they had to be cremated. So it was useless for me to try and go home because I wouldn't see it. There's nothing for me to see, or, you understand. So but after all the coordination, when I finally had the chance to sit down and let it sink in, of course I cried and stuff. But after a while, that voice started coming back in my head, and it just replayed. I replayed it over and over again. Take him back now, take him back. And I realized something. Take him back. He wasn't ours in the first place. He was lent to us, and our time with him is finally up. And when something or someone is lent to you and is taken back, you're not supposed to be angry at the fact that it's being taken back. You're supposed to be grateful for the time that you had that thing or that person. And once that settled in my head, I started going back almost involuntarily to the good times. I started remembering the lessons that I learned from him, some of the funniest moments that we shared. As I've said, he's a very funny guy. The times that we spent together, I started feeling lighter. I was still very, very sad, but I just felt lighter. I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's the best I can describe it. I was still sad, but I started feeling lighter. I wasn't dwelling on what I lost anymore. I was dwelling on what I had and still have, because I had him as a father. Once that realization settled, I started seeing as well what I didn't become because of him. I didn't become a negative person. As I've said, he's such a funny guy. He has the habit of looking for the funny in things, and that I inherited. I would just always look for the funny in things. I always look for the best in people as well. I didn't rely on other people for validation or for confidence or for money, because he instilled in me that all of those things are my responsibility to myself. I didn't become a drug addict or a drunk, or in other words, I didn't waste my life, all because he is my father. But gratitude is only possible, real gratitude is only possible if you have real humility. If you know for sure that no one, absolutely no one, not the universe, not your parents, not the energy that you have, or not even God, owes you anything, that's the only time that you will really appreciate the things that you have, the things that were given to you, and the things that you've earned. I did go through an existential phase. I guess all teens go through that, or many people go through that. I was not an exception. I went through that, asking myself, why am I here? What's my purpose? I don't want to be here. But later on, I realized that now that, okay, if I don't want to be here, so what am I going to do about it, right? But the truth is that I do have an innate respect for life. I do think this world is beautiful. People can be mean sometimes, or some people can be mean all the time. But the mere fact that I'm here, I'm in one piece, that means that I experienced more good than bad. I realized early enough also that there are others who have it way worse than I do. There are people who go from tragedy to tragedy, but I'm okay. I'm in one piece. I'm okay. And most of all, I was given one of the greatest gifts anyone can ever ask for, a great father. And so before he passed away, we actually started doing a comic book. That was actually my first project with him. I was going to write and he was going to do the illustration. We actually finished half of the comic book. So I stopped it when he passed away. But that night that I decided I was going to continue it to honor him, partly because I dreamt of him scolding me. He was telling me that I should stop using him as an excuse for my laziness. But that night that I decided I was going to continue it, I just felt this overwhelming sense of gratitude that I actually started crying harder than I did the day that he passed away. I just felt so blessed and so thankful and so very sorry that it took me so long to figure things out. Now the question is, now what, right? You're humble, you're grateful, but now what? Okay, indulge me for just a bit. In Vietnamese culture, apparently, saying thank you can actually be offensive. I know, it's odd, but the thank you that I'm saying is the, I guess, passive one that we say, like when we're handed a glass of water or a pencil or whatever, just, oh, thank you. We don't really think about it. We may mean it, but not really mean it. And in Vietnamese culture, when you're saying thank you, if you want to say thank you, you have to mean it. And in, I think, Tibetan culture, maybe you're supposed to even hold the hand of the person that you are thanking and look them in the eye and say thank you. And then, as we know, in China, Japan, and Korea, you're supposed to actually bow when you're saying thank you. What my point is, gratefulness, for it to be fully realized, you actually have to put it into action. And you put it into action by paying it forward. Now, there is an idiom in China that goes, a drop of water in need shall be returned with a spring indeed. In other words, you have to pay twice what you got once. And this is the same family value that Kim Nam-gil, if you remember the guy, the actor that appeared in Suchrita, he said that that's their family value. In other words, you pay it forward twice. So I knew that that's what I had to do. I had to pay it forward. Now, it's a tall order because my father is such a great man. He's such a great father. How do I match it, let alone pay it forward twice? But then I just have to keep on trying. I can't allow that to stop me from trying to pay it forward. I just need to try. It's not always easy. Being kind is not an easy thing, but I just need to keep on trying. And that is basically what I have been doing. Now I just want to pay it forward in all the little ways that I can, and if I have an opportunity, in any big way that I can. And that's how I got over my grief. Humility, gratitude, that resulted into me trying to pay it forward twice. Do I still miss him? Oh, of course, always. But whenever I do, I also feel grateful, knowing that I had a father that I miss every day. And I hope that helped you. As I've said, this is not an advice. This is not a professional advice. I don't have any kind of credential. This is just me sharing my story, hoping that it will inspire you in one way or another. If you want to share your own story, please leave them in the comment section below. if just one of you gets inspired by this or made you think or whatever, that's my job is done. I've accomplished my objective. You can also get in touch with me in any of the social media links that you see on your screen right now. I will be uploading this on Patreon as well with a bit more detail. Yeah, if you ended up liking this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification button, and share the video if you can. Till next time.